Mastering Instagram traffic. Let's talk about it. So a few days ago I posted a message in my personal Telegram channel where I basically just said, hey, I've noticed most agencies are currently interested in Instagram traffic, so DM me any questions you have or things you would like to learn about regarding IG and I'll make a video about it. And I was very shocked when pretty much all of the questions that I got were extremely basic, because I already have a full Instagram marketing guide on my channel, so it really confused me because in my head, I already answered all of those questions that I got. And I realized most questions could be answered by just a couple of days of actually doing Instagram and doing some basic trial and error. So just basically starting out and finding out on your own instead of actually asking the questions. Because most questions were extremely basic and the answers to those questions could both be found in pretty much any OFM group, and they could also be found in my first Instagram video, or you can simply find the answers yourself by just a few days of actually doing IG. And then it hit me, then I realized all of the people that asked me questions fell into categories. Either they were actually just looking to be reminded instead of taught, and they wanted to confirm that they were already on the right path instead of learning some new information. And the second category of people were the people that were looking for the secret sauce or the perfect way to run reels. And so let's talk about what actually matters. So when it comes to IG, there is no secret sauce or perfect way to run reels. I saw a lot of people asking and focusing on the perfect bio, hashtags, no hashtags, IG sound or original sound. They can all work. What actually matters is you starting out and doing the work. And it starts with you learning to identify a good piece of content. And so recognizing viral and good content will take time, and you'll get better the more you get familiar with the platform. And the second most important factor is the model actually recreating that content. Again, this will take time and become easier and better the more she does it. And so what I believe makes my content unique is that I don't just tell you do this, do that, because I get a lot of messages from people saying my content is very unique and they like my approach and the way I explain things. Because most people know what they have to do to achieve a certain goal, yet they still don't do it. So my content is both focused on what you should do, but also how you should do it. And most people skip that part. They just tell you, yeah bro, start doing IG Reels, they're printing money right now. And then you're just left there like, thanks, yeah. Thanks, but how do I do it? And so that's where the confusion for most people comes from. So I try to actually approach my content differently and in simple terms actually explain to you what you should do and how you should approach it, and by extent also how you should do it. So I'm gonna try to do exactly that in this video, and I'll tell you what actually matters and how to achieve that particular thing that matters. So as I've mentioned, warm-up, hashtags, aged or new accounts doesn't really matter. They can all work. So here's what actually matters. Your audience. Your existing followers and the people interacting with the content. That's the single most important thing. So Instagram has a very simple algorithm. They take a look at who is your audience. What kind of people are you reaching? What is their age, their gender, their country, their interests, and then they promote it to even more of those kinds of people with the same interests and all of those things mentioned. They also take a look at your interactions, so who is interacting with your posts, your reels, where are they from? That's the most important factor. Country. Where is this person from? So from wherever your content is being watched the most, that's the country your content will be promoted to the most. And of course, we are trying to target the high-paying countries like the USA, Canada, UK, etc. And so by a simple process of just using our brain, the question then becomes is, how do we reach as many people from that particular country or countries as possible? So your content will be promoted to the country watching your content. So you first take a look at what countries do you want to stop from watching your content. For example, India isn't a high-paying country, and 1 million views from India is worse than 10k views from the USA. So you can then start taking a look at your analytics and actually blocking the age in certain countries that you don't want to see your content. Now this will do two things for you. First, you can expect to have less views on your reels because you just took away a whole country from watching your videos, and obviously you're gonna get less followers and less reach. Now let's expand on this because many people have this issue, like they just take a look at the raw numbers with no logic. Would you rather have 20k pure USA followers or 100k pure Indian followers? And by the way, I don't have anything against India. I'm just talking with numbers here and logic. India aren't Onlyfans spenders. So you probably want to have the USA audience. So you're gonna have to separate the two in your head. Very important. Separate the idea. The idea that the highest possible amount of followers equals more money, because it doesn't. That Indian audience won't spend any money on your model. They might sub to your free OF, but they definitely won't give you any money. The goal is to get leads, not just any kind of traffic. USA-based horny males are your leads. Poor countries with no spending capital are your so-called useless traffic. You want to avoid useless traffic because the quality of your traffic decreases with them. Now, let's talk about some questions that I actually got from people messaging me through Telegram. So, shadow bans. I got a few questions regarding shadow bans. Like, most of the time you aren't shadow banned. As soon as you see low views, you think to yourself, it's all over, I'm shadow banned. No, it's not. Most of the time you just have bad content and you lack patience to actually grow your IGs. You want fast results and you fail to understand that IG is a long-term game. You always overlook that. These are long-term assets that you will use, not just grow in less than a month. IG is a long-term game and different accounts grow at different speeds. And if you ever think you're shadow banned, just check the account status to see if everything is green. If it's green, you're not shadow banned. It's always that simple. Because most believe they're shadow banned when in reality it's bad content, or growing the account actually just takes more time than you thought it will. Next up, repurposing content. If you plan on re-uploading the same video to multiple accounts, that behavior can cause your account and your content to get shadow banned. So an easy way to avoid shadow bans is to upload original content, or you can just properly repurpose existing content. And a simple fix for that is just use Stick Fusion to repurpose content. That's how we do it. There's a link in the description for that. Next up, Reels. Most people have the same question about Reels, and that's always how to go viral. As I mentioned before, this question has two components in my opinion. The first being that you can recognize viral and get content, and the second is that the model successfully recreates it. Both will come with more experience, and there is no shortcut to this. Learn and improve as you go. US SIM card, it's not important for reaching USA audience. Again, what actually matters is where is your audience and followers from. So if people from the US interact with your content, you will reach more of the USA audience. Simple as that. Next up, stories, and I want to expand on this a bit now. I like to reverse engineer this. What are even stories and why do they exist? They disappear after 24 hours and allow you to show your daily life and the activities you're up to. So use them like that. Show you're a real girl. Don't always be overly sexual. Show some personality, show your day-to-day activities and what you're up to. Don't just spam your OF link and be annoying. You should optimize your stories a bit and put some creativity behind it. For example, post a pic of you eating breakfast, then you can share yourself going to the gym or something simple like walking your dog. And then when nighttime comes, yeah, now you're all horny. That's when you share a pic of yourself in bed in your panties, you're all horny and stuff, and then you post a story to your OF link. So the goal is to make the profile seem like a real girl with some personality behind all those silicone implants. Show them you're more than just a few plastic surgeries, you're a real person. And jokes aside, generally, you should post a story with the link in bio, like every 24 hours, that's fine. And in the end, everything can work. Everything can work on IG, like every method, every way of posting, if you just put the time and effort in. That's all.